Kérem vigyázzanak, az ajtók záródnak.
The builder was called Attila. Imagine, we gave our life savings to Attila the Hun and trusted him to build us a home. I'm not joking. In Budapest, a building boom was in full swing, and Vitaly and I decided it was time to buy property. We didn't want to pay rent forever, however nice our landlord might be. Living in Zuglo had been pleasant. We even considered buying a pink house that was for sale for a long time down by the railway tracks. It kept flickering at us, trying to draw us in. But our hearts weren't in it. We realised that suburban life was not for us. We were city types. We wanted a flat in town. To be precise, we wanted 2 small flats in the same building, so that Vitaly could make music in one and I could have peace and quiet in the other to write my stories. This was the secret of our happy marriage, a degree of separation that meant we were always together. Budapest has a lot of fine old apartment houses, but the trouble is that many of them also come with cockroaches and bed bugs. We wanted something modern. In the Corvin area, opposite my old flat at Praterutsa, a huge new apartment complex was going up. The balcony panels were lime green and the building lit up at night. But buying there was beyond our means. We looked instead at the 13th district, a tram ride away from the city centre. We found one block of flats online, but when we went to look at it, we discovered that it didn't exist in reality. Then we found, and even made an offer for, flats in a building near Dog Eye Baths. We imagined we would go swimming every day. But then for some reason the vendor changed his mind and took the property off the market. At this point our estate agent, a bright star called Chilla, took pity on us. She recommended a construction site on a quiet back street of Angelfold, which translates as the Field of Angels. This was where the builder Attila was halfway through a job on a small block of flats. On Google Maps, somewhat outdated, the site was a wasteland with a few low buildings. On the ground, the block we were interested in had risen to 5 stories, but it was still covered in scaffolding. It was painted grey and white, without any lime green nonsense. Attila's men allowed us onto the site to see the shells of the future flats. The conditions underfoot would not have passed a health and safety test. We walked on planks and rusty wire netting. Vitaly fell, metaphorically, for a one-room flat up on the 4th floor. He walked out onto the balcony, even though it still had no railings. There was a view of treetops and the distant sound of trains. This had potential. Leaving the rented house in Zuglo meant giving up the garden, but on this erke, or balcony, we could put pot plants and have dinner on summer evenings. I fell, literally, for a matching flat 2 floors down. Picking my way over the rusty netting, I tripped and fell flat on my face, luckily without hurting myself, in front of the flat that was to become my little nest. It had less of a view, but more of a sense of coziness. The time came to sign the contract. We learnt new Hungarian words like tulajdonos, or owner, and ügyvéd, lawyer. Attila spoke as little English as we spoke Hungarian, but after we had exchanged the documents, he stroked my arm and said, "Don't worry." I never knew Attila the Hun could be so reassuring, and so we trusted him. What else could we do? In Russia, this would have been madness. There were so many cases of people who had been tricked into handing over money for flats that never materialised. But Attila did not let us down. From time to time he called us over to see the progress he was making. His workers were skilled and intelligent, sensing what we wanted, even if we could not articulate it. When it came to choosing the tiles and bathroom fittings, Attila sent us all the way out to the city of Vats, to a showroom that belonged to his relatives. We were obviously in the hands of the Hungarian mafia here, but they were a benign mafia who helped us to find the nicest things within our price range. For the kitchens, we had been thinking of going to IKEA, but Attila introduced us to another smiling relative who operated out of the back of a van. He showed us some photos of the kind of kitchens he could make. What the hell, we thought, and choosing the path of least resistance, we hired him to build our kitchen cupboards in brilliant white. He did an excellent job. The time came to move in. Our flats were 2 identical white boxes, never before lived in, and a blank canvas on which we could paint our future. When I walked into my own white cube, I noticed that the builders had left a small plastic pot that had contained grouting for the kitchen tiles. It was orange, a nice splash of colour. I scoured it out, put it on the windowsill, and kept it as a container for my packets of paprika.
This train terminates here. Goodbye.